households who will gain additional skills that through skills training to improve their competitiveness in the respective.
The budget strategy for the year is as follows. Number one, increasing agricultural production and productivity for food security. B, enhancing private sector development. C, intensifying energy and transport infrastructure development. D, completing oil-related infrastructure development. E, increasing affordable long-term credit to finance private sector investment. F, improving service delivery through human capital development. G, intensifying the fight against corruption. And H, boosting domestic revenue mobilization. The committee notes that there is need to review and rationalize the budget strategy. For instance, while the current capacity at judiciary can handle 1,005 cases per annum, there are over 27,000 suspects on remand in prison facilities. This implies that judiciary will take about 18 years to clear the current number of cases, everything remaining constant. In the meantime, government is feeding and caring for the suspects. The committee notes that through the performance reports of the previous budget, there is still a big challenge of realizing the required levels of efficiency, effectiveness, and economy in the utilization of the national resources. The Uganda Export Promotion Board, which is responsible for export strategy, is allocated 3.2 billion shillings against a requirement of 8.5 billion in the proposed annual budget. The committee also notes that while government indicates that industrialization is a key strategy for job creation, no funds have been allocated in the proposed budget for industrial parks development. The current public debt situation for the country is unsustainable. This is evidenced by the fact that out of the total resource envelope of 28.9 trillion shillings for 2017-18, only 12.9 trillion shillings will be available for discretionary spending. The balance of 16 trillion shillings is earmarked for debt servicing and project support. This makes the country highly vulnerable to the extent that the budget can no longer adequately provide for quality education and health services, recapitalization of vital enterprises such as UDC and UDB, that the government takes measures to restructure the budget, as well as lowering budget ceilings where possible. For instance, by reviewing some of the major construction projects, such as developing the cheaper marine transport instead of the costly standard gauge rail.
That out of the roads that are listed on page 6, only 2 had the required documents that gives it all the details of the roads as required.
And you're only servicing interest, then you don't really need the cash. They need 4.9 trillion cash to pay to whoever we borrowed from. So really, if we did not need, if it was a matter of rolling over, they would only show the interest. So maybe the 4.9 trillion is actually interest.
The 954 billion shillings is a new borrowing and meant for treasury operations. We will agree to that.
If the 15 minutes adjournment cannot yield any fruit, I'll come here and propose questions. If there are mistakes, the courts are just outside. They'll sort it out. Yes, because today is a deadline, and we need to find a way of dealing with these issues. So I am going to suspend the House for 15 minutes.
We have agreed in that meeting that we have looked at our budget having a deficit. And in that meeting we have agreed that we call it deficit financing. Then we appropriate here knowing that that money will be borrowed for purposes of financing a deficit in the budget.
Members, I now put the question that the House resolves itself in the Committee of Supply to consider the harmonized figures for supply to vote for financial year 2017-2018. I put the question that motion. Will those in favor say to the contrary? No. The ayes have it.
committee.